sure you all agree with me when I say attitude will almost always determine your view of life and your path in life. And the better your attitude, the better your chances are, I'm sure you agree, of making a success of who you want to be. I was in Brisbane last week, and I was stopped on the sideway by a lady called Debbie. She was collecting money for the blind. Now, I didn't have any cash on me, and I apologised to Debbie, but we got chatting. I like talking to people. And she asked me what I did. So I said I work in software and described the types of things that I did. Now, Debbie was a little bit older than me, and she said, oh, I could never do that. This is the only job I'll ever have. And I thought that was a curious thing to say. So I started asking her questions. Debbie was 52. Debbie is 52. Debbie had a little sign on her jumper that said, please excuse my manner, I have problems. And I thought that was also an interesting badge for Debbie to wear and to show to the world. Debbie had learning problems. And throughout her whole life, she's been in a job where she goes and talks to people. And we started talking about the value, I thought, of being able to talk to people. And the fact that when the robots come and the computers take everybody else's jobs, there will still be the need for people to go and talk to people. And those are the jobs, I think, that are the ones that are going to be absolutely useful post the robot apocalypse. Debbie had a different idea. I can't actually get any other job apart from this. Well, why not, Debbie? Well, I don't know anything else. Well, Debbie, I'm sure that the skills that you have, and you are a very engaging person, are transferable into another environment. You will always be able to talk to people. You don't understand, I'm 52. No one's ever going to give me a job. We spent about 15 minutes going backwards and forwards, and every single thing, and I really wanted her to give me a glimmer of hope for her future. But every single thing I said to her, she knocked back with, I can't. I can't do that because. I can't do that because. In fact, this job I'm probably going to lose as well. Why are you going to lose this job? Well, they're driving us to use FPOS machines instead of manually collecting the money. Surely that's a better thing for you, Debbie. It means that I would have been able to donate money to you today. Yes, but Allan, I get $20 cash from the money that I collect at the end of the day. If all of the money gets collected by FPOS, it has to be paid to me as a salary. And I suddenly can't claim benefits anymore. I can't do that. At some point, you just got to say, okay, you've told me you can't, and you know what, you could probably right. I told Debbie the story of Harland. Now, Harland was chalk to Debbie's cheese. Harland was a guy who had struggled throughout his whole life. As a teenager, he had taken on menial labor jobs. He'd become a builder, a bricklayer. He'd worked on the railroads in the US. He had worked long and hard to get just a little bit of money together so that he could go to law school. Harland took himself off to law school. He did 3 years in college and eventually became a lawyer. He lasted 3 years because he was thrown out of, he was disbarred for brawling with a client in a courtroom in Chicago. Harland gave up the law and went and did something else. So he went back to labor. He eventually took a job as a ferry driver, a train driver, and again, he was fired for insubordination or for doing something wrong, for fighting against the system. But did he give up? No, he didn't. For 60 years, Harland worked like that. Sorry, for 50 years, Harland worked like that, until he was about 65 years old. And then Harland discovered something which was actually quite amazing. He discovered that he knew how to cook chicken. And he started the very first Kentucky Fried Chicken in Salt Lake City, Utah. And Colonel Harland David Sanders was born. Now, he wasn't an instant success. In fact, for 10 years, he really struggled. He used to sleep in the car because he couldn't afford rent. His wife would find a place to go and make up the spices. Day by day, they would go from restaurant to restaurant, and they'd walk in, and the sales pitch was, if I can make your workers chicken that they love, will you sell it for us? And give us 4 cents of every chicken that you sell. A tiny fraction of the profit that the restaurant would make. 10 years it took him to build up KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, to a brand that we know today, and to a brand that was actually worth something that he could sell on. When Harland David Sanders was 75 years old, he sold it for $2 million back then, worth about $16 to $20 million today. Did Harland say, I can't? No. Did Harland say, I'm too old? Absolutely not. Did Harland say, I don't have that skill? No. Harland tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried until he made damn good chicken. You know what Debbie's response to me was? But I don't know how to make chicken. Sometimes you just got to give up. Good luck, Debbie. I'm sure it'll work out. I've got to go. I look at my life and I look at the things that I have done. And I'm no Colonel Sanders, but I know I'm definitely not Debbie. My first job that I had, I worked in a print design company. And I did a particular thing, and I think I did a particular thing particularly well, but I was never going to go beyond what I did. And I gave up my job. Dad and I had been married for probably about 3 years, 2 or 3 years at this point. And I gave up my job, and it was on the agreement that I was going to go and do something different. If I didn't give up my job, I was never going to go and do something different. Because it was nice and comfortable. I'd been in Toastmasters for 5 years at that point, and the job that I went for was a design college tutor. I was 24, 25 years old. And the local design college in Cape Town, Person Carter Training, were looking for a part-time tutor to come and deliver their courses for them. I knew nothing. I knew some of the things that the course was delivering, but the packages, the software that they were using, I'd never used before. It was on Apple Mac, I'd always used Windows. It was this kind of stuff, I'd always done that kind of stuff. If I was Debbie, I would have looked at that and said, I can't. But I wasn't, I was Harland. And I went into that interview, and I said, yes, I can. Of course I can do that. Because I knew that on the day I'd be able to do this. I knew that I'd have the course material, and the night before, I'd be studying bloody hard to understand what I would be teaching the next day. And I did. It was the best thing that I ever did. It took me right out of my comfort zone, and it really took my Toastmaster skills and made me use them in the real world for the very first time. It showed me the benefit of exactly what we do here 2 nights a month. I love that course. I earned more money in 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, than I was earning in a month in my old job, because it was a contract role. It was absolutely fantastic. And all through my life, I've tried to do that. I've tried to take on jobs where I actually don't know what I'm doing, where I've got to push myself, where I've got to learn something and step it up a little bit. Because that's the way you grow. It's the story of the guy that's been in the same position for 10 years and he says, I've got 10 years experience in this role. No, you don't. You've got 1 year experience 10 times. You haven't grown at all. We've all got to look for those opportunities, and we've got to listen to the stories that we tell ourselves. And I'm sure you agree that the attitude that we have and that you see in other people determines the stories that you tell yourself and the path that you choose in life. Why not choose one that is happy and challenging and is going to make you grow? Come to Toastmasters.